Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah. नीलातुङ्गस्तनगिरितटे सुप्तमुद्बोध्य कृष्णम् पारार्थ्यं स्वं श्रुतिशतशिरःसिद्धमध्यापयन्ति स्वोच्छिष्टायां सृजनिगलितं याबलात्कृत्य भुङ्क्ते गोदा तस्यै नम इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः Andal Tiruvadigalе Sharanam. Today we will discuss the 10th Pasuram. Nottu chuvargam Pugendra Ammanai Matramum Tararo Vasal Tiravadar Nattattodai Mudi Narayanan Nammal Potha Paraidarum Punniyanal Pandorunal Kootattin Vaivayinda Kumbakarnanum Thottumunake Perunthuyil Thaan Thandano Aatra Anandal Udayai Arungalame Tetramai Vanda Thiravelor Embavai. This is the Pasuram.
Ariyan Swami.
She's
நோற்ற சுவர்க்கம் புகுகின்ற அம்மனாய் மாற்றமும் தாராரோ வாசல் திறவாதார் நாற்ற துழாய் முடி நாராயணன் நம்மாள் போற்ற பறை தரும் புண்ணிய நாள் பண்டு ஒரு நாள் குற்றத்தின் வாய் வீழ்ந்த கும்பகரணனும் தோற்றும் உனக்கே பெரும் துயில்தான் தந்தானோ ஆற்ற அனந்த உடையாரும் களமே தேற்றமாய் வந்து தீரவேலோர் எம்பாவா.
Andal Tiruvadigalе. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started for today. So yesterday, as we were discussing, Andal, she was, she's in the mood of approaching different gopis, taking shelter of different gopis before she approaches Krishna, right? And we said that each of these gopis represent a certain aspect of Acharya Tattvam that one takes shelter of as one makes progress on the spiritual path, the path of attaining Krishna. So today's Gopika is someone who is in the ekendriya avastha. Okay, yesterday we discussed that Pasurams 9 through 12 represent 4 stages of sthita prajnata that Krishna has described in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so yesterday we discussed the highest stage of sthita prajnata, which is called vashikara avastha, right? The phase in which one is completely in control of one's mind and senses, where the mind no longer desires anything material, where the mind is completely absorbed in Paramatma alone. That is the phase in which that particular Gopika was present. Today's Gopika is described to be in ekendriya avastha. This phase is described by Krishna as dukkheshu anudvignamana sukheshu vigataspruhaha vitaraga bhayakrodhaha sthitadhir muniruchyate. This is how Krishna describes about this phase in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, this is the penultimate phase. That means the phase before the final phase. What are some of the characteristics? Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha. That means even when they are faced with misery, their mind is not disturbed, because like we discussed yesterday, the amount of taste or distaste that they have towards various things is like fire that is left beneath firewood, right? The amount of fire that is left beneath firewood or ashes, almost the ashes are burned, little bit of fire is left. So it is just about the amount of fire or that means their desire level is such that they are just able to recognize that this was something that used to give me pleasure or pain in the past, but not anymore. Right now, the only object of pleasure for them is Paramatma. And the only thing that gives them pain is separation from Paramatma. That is the phase they are in right now. So anything material really doesn't matter to them because they understand the complete temporary nature of material existence. So it doesn't disturb them too much. So dukkheshu anudvignamanaha. Their mind is not agitated when sorrows come over in the life. Sukheshu vigata spruhaha. That means even if there is some sort of material happiness, they remain completely indifferent to it. Dukkheshu anudvignamana, example is Prahlada, for instance, we know Prahlada is generally given for stage 4. That means already he manifests all the characteristics in stage 3, right? But if you look at Prahlada's case, so many difficulties came at every point, but he did not show any agitation as a result of such difficulties. Constantly, he was tormented in various ways by the different Rakshasas. So he remained unagitated. Sukheshu vigataspruhaha. That means even in the greatest of happiness, that doesn't disturb them. They are completely neutral to it. Vita raga bhaya krodhaha. That means they're completely devoid of any attachment, any fear that something that they like will go away from them or something that they don't like will come in their life. They don't carry any such fear. Krodhaha. Krodha is generally an outcome of, something that material, this is referring to material krodha. So if something that they like is taken away, then they become angry. Something that they don't like comes to them, they become angry, right? That kind of krodha does not exist in such people. So it is described that this girl is the next door neighbor of Krishna. That means the only thing that was separating this girl's house and Krishna's house was a wall partition, right? Anytime Krishna could jump over that wall and come into this girl's house. In other words, figuratively, what this is indicating is this is just one level below the ultimate level of Sthita Prajnata, that is Vashikara avastha, right? Anytime this girl can absorb or anytime this girl can experience that union with Krishna, it's not too far off for her, right? So now, these girls who are all outside, from an external Pasuram point of view, they were wondering if Krishna is already with her, because of which she is not coming out, right? That is why they are calling out in this Pasuram. Now let us try to understand what they are saying. Nottu chuvargam Hugendra ammanai. Ammanai means, oh Amma, we say just like, oh lady, you are someone, Nottu chuvargam Hugendra. That means you are someone, it appears that you are someone who has already performed a Nottu. Nottu means already performed the Nomo, right? Because of which, Pugendra, it appears that you are already experiencing, you are present in, or you are entering in that Swargam. Shuvargam means Swargam, right? You are already experiencing Swargam, right? Therefore, you are not coming out. See, all of us, our situation is that we are yet to perform that Nom. For that, we are in a preparatory phase right now, right? We are still yet to gather ingredients, right? We still need to get this parai from Krishna. Then we have to begin the vratam to obtain. But in your case, it appears that you have no reaction whatsoever. Although, entire Gokula, all the girls are so excited. In your case, I don't see that excitement. So it appears that as if, it appears that you already have performed this vratam and you already got the phalam associated with it. In this way, they are saying, right? They are saying you're already experiencing Swargam. What is the Swargam they are referring to here? Swargam here refers to, what does Swargam mean? In the Shanti Parvam of Mahabharata, it describes what Swargam is. Swargam means Yasmin na Ushnam na Sheetam Yanna Dukkhena Sambhinnam Najagrastam Anantaram Abhilasho Upanitam Yat Tat Sukham Swarga Padaspadam. That means it is that place where there is no difficulty due to heat or cold, where misery does not exist at all, where as soon as you experience something, that experience does not end. That means that happiness of experience continues for some time. And this is something that one can obtain by proper sadhana. That kind of happiness where happiness is not ending immediately is called Swarga. So this Swarga can refer to two places. What is that? The heaven of Indra and also Paramapada. What is the difference between the two? The difference between the two is, although this is also seemingly it is a place free from miseries, but that is not always the case, because the heaven of Indra is always constantly subject to conquests by Danavas. Repeatedly, Danavas keep on planning and targeting and attacking, and they keep seizing them. So they have to live in fear. It's really not a place free from fear, right? But in terms of happiness, relatively the quality of life there, everybody is youthful. Even in Swarga, they keep experiencing happiness for as long as they are there. It's like a vacation place, right? If we go to a vacation place, it's not like we have to work in the morning, we have to attend meetings in the afternoon and so on. We don't have to struggle for our existence there. We just go there to enjoy. So heaven is like that. There is unlimited, unending enjoyment for as long as you are there. To that extent, it is not interrupted in any way, right? So that is the nature of Swarga. And Paramapadam is really that place where happiness never ends. It is the place of unrestricted happiness, right? Unlimited happiness, unrestricted happiness, everlasting happiness. Okay. So there is no end to happiness. So here, when does one get that kind of happiness? When one is in association with Krishna, right? Because Krishna, the word itself means Niratishaya Ananda, unending happiness. Krishna means unending happiness. That is the meaning of that word. Okay. So unending, therefore that word applies to Paramatma, because he alone can give unending happiness to anybody. So when that means they are saying that it appears that you are all, by using the word Swargam, they are indicating that you are already with Krishna. He is the phalam of this Nombu, right? You are performing this vratam means he is the ultimate. You want to gain him. That is why you are doing this vratam, right? So they are saying that appears that you are already experiencing him. Therefore, you don't really need to perform the vratam. It appears like in this way they are saying. How do we come to this conclusion? Even Sita Devi says, Yas tvaya asaha sasvargaha nirayo yas tvaya vina. In the Ramayana, she says this, that what is true happen when Rama says, you have all these palatial comforts here, everything will be there on time, everything will be arranged in time. I'm the only person who was requested to go to the forest. I'll go finish my term of 14 years and come back. Why don't you just remain here? In this way, he was trying to convince Sita. Sita Devi said, no, you are saying there'll be a lot of difficulties in the forest, there'll be thorns, there'll be all these things. But you know what, Rama? What is true Swarga for me? True Swarga for me is just being with you. It doesn't matter where that place is. It may be in the forest, it may be in the middle of some jungle, it may be, in a desert. It doesn't matter where it is. Even if I'm in the palace, if I'm not with you, that is nirayaha. That is as good as hell for me. So Riya Swarga is to be with you. So that is the meaning that is being indicated here. Okay. Now, one more aspect that is important here is for us to understand. So externally, this is what they are saying. It seems like you're already experiencing that happiness. You've already gotten that phalam, right? Therefore, it doesn't seem like you have to do anything. Next, Matramum Tararo Vasal Theravadar. Matramum Tararo. You won't even give a reply. We are knocking on your door. We are reaching out to you. We are trying to call you. At least a reply. Why don't you even give a reply, right? Vasal Theravadar. If not open the door, at least you should reply to us, right? That's okay. But even that you are not doing, they are saying. Next, Natrattulai Mudinarayanan. Nammal Potra Paredarum Punniyanal. They are saying, we understand, we know the reason why you are not opening the door. Natrattulai Mudinarayanan. We are, Natra means fragrant. Tudai, Tirutudai means Tulasi, right? Mudi, Narayanan. So, this Tulasi that Narayana always bears on his head, that fragrant Tulasi smell we are actually getting. Now you tell us the real reason why you are not coming. That means Narayana is inside. Krishna might have been there. Even if he is not there today, he might have come yesterday night to your place and he must have embraced you. And now he is gone. So naturally his fragrance is sticking to you. Therefore, we are also able to smell that, right? We are able to smell that fragrant Tulasi from you. Nammal Potra Paredarum Punniyanal. Nammal means by us. Potra means praised. Paraidarum, he is the bestower of Parai, right? Punyanal, who is he? He is Punya personified, right? That is who he is. that person smell we are actually getting, right? We are actually singing praises of him, and he is the one who is going to bestow the parai for us ultimately. And he is Punya personified, she is saying. Then Pandorunal கூற்றற்றின் வாய் வீடிந்த கும்பகர்ணனும். Now they are saying, they are getting humorous here. Sarcastically, they are trying to speak. One day, Pand ஒரு நாள் means one day, long ago, what happened? கூற்றற்றின் means into death, death's why, mouth, into the mouth of death. Veelinda, that means fell Kumbhakarnanum. Kumbhakarna, one day long ago, he fell into the jaws of death. Right? Then Totru Munakke Peruntuil Tam Tandano. They are saying Totru means having been defeated. Unakke, just to you. Peruntuil means deep sleep. Tan, indeed, Tandano, has he given it? So the joke that they are making here is, it appears that you and Kumbhakarna had some sort of arm wrestle or something, and then whoever loses, they have to give whatever they have to the other person. It appears that you won and he lost to you, therefore he gave his sleep to you, therefore you are in such a deep sleep that you are not even getting up. So it seems like you are better than Kumbhakarna in this particular department, right? You are not even getting up. So have you defeated him in that? They are saying Atra Anandal Udayai Arunkalame. It means Atra, utterly. Anandal Udayai means one who is overcome with sleep. That means, O lady who is completely filled with sleep, Arunkalame, you are indeed a jewel among all of us. Then they are saying, Tetramai vandu Thiravelor Embavai, means you please settle yourself from this deep sleep, completely, come back to consciousness, and vandu Thira, please come and open the door. Elor Embavai, this is our vrat. Please join us in this vratam. So externally, what are they saying? Today they have gone to the house of a certain Gopika. This Gopika apparently is the next door neighbor of Krishna. And then they are trying to talk to her. They are saying that it appears that, you are so much sleepy that you don't even want to open the door. You don't even want to talk to us. Now we know why. Because it appears that you already got the fruit. You must have already performed this nomu. Right? Because of that, you already got the fruit. So therefore, there is really nothing for you to do. And then they are saying, another thing they are saying is, we know why that is happening, because we can smell that fragrance of tulasi in that room. It's coming out actually. So we know Krishna is probably with you right now, or at least he must have visited you in the last few days, because of which that smell is sticking around in your home and in your, sometimes people, they put such strong fragrances that that entire room is filled with that fragrance, right? Even if after they leave for some time, that fragrance will be around. So in this way, Krishna's fragrances are natural fragrances, right? It's not an artificial. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we are told, Divya Malyam Baradharam, Divya Gandhanu Lepanam, Sarvascharyamayam Devam Anantam Vishwato Mukham. In this way, his qualities are described by Sanjaya, that he has many divine garlands and he has many divine fragrances coming out of his body, because he applies many divine creams, apparently. Divya Gandha Anulepanam, it is described. So not any material creams and so on. So he has some of those natural fragrances. And obviously his own body is fragrant. So he doesn't need any fragrance to apply artificial. Anyway, so that is being described. So we are smelling that, they are saying. And then they are saying, we know one more thing. You know what, lady? I think you have defeated Kumbhakarna in this particular department. You are, he is known for sleeping for as long as 6 months, but it appears like you are, stronger than him in this. No matter what we do, Kumbhakarna, to wake him up, they had to do so many things. They had to blow trumpets, blow horns, they had to walk into his ear, they had to do so many things, they had to beat drums. None of them had any reaction. They had to bring huge amounts of, meat and vats of food and all of that, and take it closer to his nose so that he can smell and wake up. And so much effort was put to wake him up. In this way, we are also trying so hard, but you are not having any reaction from inside. So it means you must have defeated Kumbhakarna in this particular thing. And now they are saying, we understand that, we are actually someone who want to get that parai. You must have already gotten it, but we want to get it. So we are singing the praise of this particular person who is Punya personified. Okay. Therefore, please, you please come out and you please guide us, unsettle yourself from this particular state in which you are right now. And then please come out and guide us, take us to Krishna. In this way, they are trying to say. Now we will try to understand what is the inner meaning. In the first line, when they are saying Nottu chuvargam Pooginra Ammanai. So they are trying to describe the characteristics of this particular lady. Ammanai, oh lady. Nottu chuvargam Pooginra. That means it appears that you have already performed the vow and you already have the fruit with you. Now, upayams, they are of two types. One type of upayams are called, upayam means for obtaining anything is called upayam. Okay. There are two kinds of upayams. One is sadhya upayam, the other one is siddha upayam. What is the difference between sadhya upayam and siddha upayam? Sadhya upayam means it is a means that you have to practice, you have to do something, and finally you have to get a result. Okay. Siddha upayam means it's ready made. For example, there is an event and you have to take gulab jamuns. Sadhyopayam means you buy milk powder, you buy, wheat flour, you buy sugar, or whatever, rose water, whatever is necessary for making the gulab jamun, sugar and all that. And you try to make the balls yourself, you try to deep fry, you try to, soak them for 2-3 hours. And finally your gulab jamuns are ready and you take them. This is sadhyopayam. Siddhopayam means you go to India Bazaar, you purchase a can of gulab jamuns, it's already ready made. You just take it because all you need to do is take it. That is the final goal, right? So this is the difference between sadhyopayam and siddhopayam. Now, different kinds of upayams are told in the Shastra. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, all these are sadhyopayams. Sadhyopayam means they appear that you have to do something and therefore the end result is you will get Krishna. Karma yoga means thinking that you have to perform all the karmas, without any break, even one day, and you have to perform them exactly on time, and that is what gives you moksha. This kind of feeling is called karma yoga. Jnana yoga means thinking that you have to obtain all the knowledge in the shastram and you have to constantly live in this knowledge, and this is what is going to give you moksha. This is called jnana yoga. Bhakti yoga means the scriptures prescribe different things, that if you circumambulate the temple of Lord Vishnu 3 times, then you don't have to circumambulate in samsara again. Similarly, it tells you that if you come and observe the murti of the Lord in the lamp, different Puranas have all these Smriti Granthas and Puranas, they have all these statements that if you offer flowers to the Lord and smell those flowers, your material vasanas will go away, right? Similarly, if you observe the murti of the Lord and the lamp, right, then your papas will go away. If you come and sing in front of the Lord, your papas will go away. If you come and clap and dance in front of the Lord, your papas will go away. In this way, Puranas make so many statements, and for each of them, they will also provide a particular incident in history that such and such person, all they did was they sang throughout the night for Krishna's sake, just like we learned the story of Nampaduvan, right? We learned the story of that. Just singing is sufficient, right? Now, all of these are sort of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means thinking that you have to perform something, and as a result of that, your papams will go away, and therefore you can attain Krishna. Okay? But there is something called siddhopayam, that is Krishna himself. That upayam eternally exists with us. We don't have to newly gain that credit. Krishna is within us. He's always inside us. He is the means, actually. None of these things are the means. He is the means. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman parityaja. Give up everything, he said. What does this mean? What does dharma mean? Sarvadharman parityaja. Parityaja means completely give up. Okay, tyajya means give up. Parityaja means fully give up in a way such that you don't pick them up again. This is parityajya. Of course, there is a lot of deeper meaning, but I'm not getting into all of that. Sarvadharman means, what does dharma mean? Dharma means yato abhyudayaha nishreyasaha siddhihi saha dharma. That which leads to your welfare in this life and welfare after this life is called dharma. That means that which leads you. Dharma means, put it simply, it is sukha sadhanam. That which is a means for experiencing happiness in this life or in the life after this. That is what dharma means. Any dharma. Okay, dharma means you practice that so that you are happy in this life and you are happy in the life after this. Okay. Now, what is he saying? Sarvadharman parityaja. Give up all such means of obtaining happiness. And what is he saying? Is he stopping there? He is saying, Mamekam sharanam vraja. Just surrender to me. Just perform sharanagati to me. Hold on to my feet. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will take you to the goal, which is myself. Okay, I will free you from all the sins. And he's saying, don't worry, Masusha, do not fear, do not worry. Because when someone says, give up everything, come to me, it's a source of fear. I may have certain seat belt with me, I might have certain things with me, and someone says, give up all that, come, I'll take you. You may say, no, what if I need all these things? That means we are not trusting that person fully. Okay, he is also a dharma, remember, because Shastra said that Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. This is what Shastra said. What is Krishnam dharmam sanatanam? Yecha veda vido vipraha, yecha adhyatma vido janaha, te vadanti mahatmanam Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. Mahabharatam says this. That all the veda vido vipraha, all the vipras who know the Vedas fully, yecha adhyatma vido janaha, those who understand the inner tattva, the self-realized people, all these Mahatmas, te vadanti, they all declare unanimously that Krishna is the eternal dharma, Krishnam dharmam sanatanam. So when he's saying give up other dharmas, catch me, he is also a sukha sadhana. But he doesn't even compare to any of the other means. Can you actually perform every dharma that is told in scriptures? It is not possible. Can you actually erase all your sins in all your previous lives in one life? That is also not possible. Because the number of prayashchittas told in the Shastram are too many. How do you even know what kind of sins you performed in your previous life to even figure out what prayashchittams are needed for all of them? Every day, even if you do prayashchittam, still you will not exhaust. One life is not sufficient to get moksha, realistically. So clearly that itself is ruling out the possibility that you are depending on your karmas to get moksha. You can't. Right? Similarly, thinking that I can get all the jnana that is available everywhere and constantly I'm in a position to depend on that jnana and that jnana will give me moksham is also not possible. It's not realistic. Similarly, bhakti yoga, there might be a faint possibility that constantly, but we don't have that level of love towards God. Right? We might do things, but we might think that yes, my papams, I recited Krishnastakam today, so koti janma kritam papam smaranena mayashyati. 1 crore janma papas got done. How do we know how many crore janmas we have papas? Right? For how many crores of janmas we are taking birth in samsara, can we estimate? Krishnastakam has that power. Right? Similarly, Haryastakam has that power. Vishnu Sahasranamam has power. But sometimes people say, I do every day, I recite every day, but nothing is happening. How do we know that, 1,000 wala, 10,000 wala, in this way, 1 million wala, 2 billion wala, 1 zillion wala, it has started. Somewhere it has started, it's burning all the sins. But how do we know it is all complete and when will it complete? We do not know. So to think that I'm going to depend on this and therefore all my papams will go away and one fine day I will approach Paramatma with my self-earned bhakti is also not a wise thought. But what we know from Shastra is that Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. Maricha told this in Ramayana, that Rama is none other than Dharma personified. Similarly, Krishnam Dharmam Sanatanam says Mahabharata. Dharma is yato dharmaha tato krishnaha, yato krishnaha tato jayah. In this way, there are many statements in the Shastras that all declare that he is that eternal dharma. Right? So if we understand that he is that dharma, now what does this mean? Does this mean that we have to give up all the karmas? No, this is not the meaning of this. The meaning of this is not to give up all karmas. The meaning of it is not to give up bhakti. The meaning of it is not to give up jnana. The meaning is to give up seeing them as a means for moksha. Right? So there is karma swarupa tyaga and swabhava tyaga. Okay? Karma swarupa tyaga we should never do. That means karma should never be given up. This point Krishna is super clear until the 18th chapter. Right? Even in Moksha Sannyasa Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, very clearly, emphatically, he declares, do not give up karmas. Right? But he's not asking you to see your karmas as a means for moksha. That is not your sadhana. Nothing is the sadhana. He alone is the sadhana. Right? It is he, when he is pleased, whenever he wants to take, he will take. Right? It is up to him. That is the level of surrender we should express. Why are we doing all these things? Not in a mood that I have to follow karma yoga, not in a mood that I have to develop jnana. Why do we develop jnana? Because we need some basic understanding of our relationship with Paramatma. That much we need. Right? That is the jnana that is, he says that jnana is the jnana that takes us forward, in the sense that basic understanding is what helps us more and more develop more and more love towards him. Similarly, why do we do bhakti? The reason a mumukshu performs bhakti is not because each of these activities of bhakti is going to remove papams. He does it because he cannot remain without doing it. He loves Paramatma so much that he cannot remain without doing it. The karmas that he does are also for the same reason. The jnana that he gains is also for the same reason, because if it is something related to Paramatma, he cannot remain without knowing about Paramatma. Therefore, he wants to know. So it is something that is coming naturally to such a person, not because that is the means for moksha. So that is the thing that we have to understand from all these things. Okay. So one should never give up, but one should not see this as a means. So now what they are saying is, it appears that you have already obtained that result, Krishna. Therefore, they are trying to describe the phase in which this particular Gopika is. But it seems like you don't really have to do anything. You don't have to accomplish anything to get there. That means it seems like you are already seeing Krishna as the sadhanam. Therefore, it seems like you are not depending on any external thing to get Krishna, because you are already with Krishna. That means you are already experiencing him as the means. Okay, that is the meaning that they are expressing here. Then matramam tararo vasal tiravadar. Then they are saying that, why don't you even give a reply? Why don't you even answer? You know, what is the thing that they are requesting from this particular request? They are saying that we want to hear the speech of a Bhagavata like you, because if you are in that phase where you are already feeling that Krishna is the ultimate upayam, and you are someone who is in that kind of nishtha, siddhopaya nishtha, this is called siddhopaya nishtha. That means you are someone who is in the phase where you are seeing Krishna alone as the means. You are fully dependent on him for everything. We want to hear from a Bhagavata like you. We want to get benefited from the speech of a Bhagavata like you. Can you please not speak at least? Right? Because your speech is capable of removing all our sins. Sins in the sense, not material sins and so on. All the misconceptions that we may carry. Right? The speech of a Bhagavata is like a thunder. We heard this in the fourth Pasuram, right? Arimare Kanna, she was describing it's like Sudarsana Chakra and all that, right? Thunder, lightning, and all. The speech of an Acharya is like that. It is capable of removing so many misconceptions we may have gathered for millions of births. We may carry some misconceptions. But if you sit in the class of such a Bhagavata even once, that misconception will be gone forever, right? That is the power of a speech of a Bhagavata. So you please speak something, because we want to hear your realizations. In this way, they are trying to request. But she is not speaking. Why is she not speaking? Because she is, apparently overjoyed that so many Bhagavatas, a Bhagavata never thinks that I am such a great Bhagavata and they are coming and praying to me and so on. Bhagavata is just happy that these many other Bhagavatas have come to my house. So she was so ecstatic. It is described that Sita Devi, when Hanuma came to her and he was describing that Rama became victorious, Sita Devi was almost speechless. Praharshena avaruddha sa vyajahara nakinchana, Ramayana says. That she was feeling so much overjoyed that nothing was coming out of her mouth. No speech was coming out of her mouth upon hearing that news. Similarly, the fact that these many Bhagavatas came and they're all heading towards Krishna just made her dumbfounded, that nothing was coming out of her mouth. That is the real reason why she was remaining silent. But they all thought that you are such a great Bhagavata that you don't want even to speak to us. Come on, you can't be like this. This is what they are saying. Now, at least open the door. If you don't open the door, at least speak, is what they are saying. Doors, we have learned that the doors represent ahankara and mamakara, right? These are the things that have to be dispelled by the speech of that Bhagavata. What they are saying is, if you don't want to open the doors, at least speak. That means speech of a Bhagavata is the first thing that one should depend upon, because once we continue to hear from a Bhagavata, these ahankara and mamakara conceptions that, I am important and everything related to me is mine and all these things are mine, whatever I see is mine, this kinds of conceptions will go away automatically. So this one precedes the other. Okay. We don't have to put an effort to, cut down ahankara and mamakara. Those things will automatically subside if a Bhagavata, a great Bhagavata, keeps speaking. So therefore they are saying, if you don't want to open the doors, at least speak, because that is what will naturally unlock these doors eventually. Okay. So, Natatturai Mudinarayanan Namal Pota Paredarum Punniyanal. So now what they are saying is Natatturai Mudinarayanan. We are actually smelling the fragrance of Tulasi. So that is a clue that Narayana is in there. In other words, what they are trying to say is this fragrance represents the symptoms of someone who has experienced Bhagavad Tattva. So, seeing your behavior, we feel that you have already experienced the Lord. In other words, that fragrance is not a material fragrance they are describing. Okay, the fragrance is a spiritual fragrance. A spiritual fragrance is all the symptoms and characteristics of a sthita prajna are clearly visible in you. Why? Because all of us are actually running to go to Krishna, but you seem to be very, peaceful at heart. There is no agitation of any kind. That means you are already experiencing Krishna right where you are, right? And you are so much absorbed in that ecstasy that no speech is coming out of you and no reaction is coming. Chavido, Anandalo, Erundil Pattalo, in this way, yesterday she asked, right? That are you deaf? Are you dumb? Are you lazy? Why are you not speaking? In this way, even this particular Bhagavata is like this, apparently. That means they are deaf in the sense that any material things will not fall in their ears. They are, dumb in the sense that anything material will not come out from their mouth. If they talk, they'll be substantial and only related to spiritual things. Similarly, if you say they are lazy, yes, they are lazy to all kinds of materialistic things. They are ever active for spiritual goals. But anything material, they are not so much active and, they are not so much excited about things which are material in nature. So in this way, they are saying, we know that Narayana is that tattva, that is whom you are experiencing, right? So please, all we want is, we want to experience that tattva too. And who is that Narayana tattva? He is Punya personified. What is the significance of this? The greatness of Paramatma is that anybody, no matter who they are, no matter what qualification they have, Mam hi partha vyapashritya, yepi syu papayonaha, striyo vaishyas tatha shudraha te api yanti param gatim. He says in Bhagavad Gita that even if someone belongs to a very sinful birth, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which caste they belong to. It doesn't matter which gender they belong to. It doesn't matter which species they belong to. They could be a bird. They could be an animal. Even animals and birds like Jatayu got moksham. Rama himself personally gave moksham to Jatayu. Gachalokan anuttaman, he said. Right? You go to that world from where there is no return. Right? Rama ordered. In this way, from the Supreme Lord's perspective, it doesn't matter who we are. Kirata, Hunandra, Pulindra, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, Khasadaya, Ye Anyecha Papa, Yadapashaya, Shraya, Shuddhyanti Tasmai, Prabhavishnave Namaha, says Bhagavatam. That it doesn't matter which race we belong to, right? Africans, Americans, Chinese, Russians, Germans, Italians, anybody can take to Harinama. Anybody can take to Hari Bhakti. Anybody can get delivered by this process because he is Punyana. That means he is Punyam personified. What does Punyam personified mean? Why do we try to gain Punyam? Right? We try to do certain activities, right? We try to do Dhanam, we try to do Yajnam, Yagam. All these are activities. We hope that this is going to give some Punyam to us. So in how many ways Punyam benefits us? In all those ways, he will directly benefit us. That means if we think that a certain Dhanam will benefit us, that means we are going to gain some Punyam if we give Dhan, right? If we spend the same amount of time with him, that means by absorbing ourselves in him, his glories, by chanting his name, by reciting something related to him, then the benefit of that dana will automatically come to us, right? In the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pratishtham atyetitam sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upeti chadyam, he says. 8th chapter, 28th sloka, Bhagavad Gita. That the process of devotion is so powerful that the punyam that one gets by reciting all the Vedas, performing all the yajnas, doing all kinds of danas, all these kinds of benefits, he alone is capable of giving. That means we don't need another means for even gaining any kind of punyam in life. If we are just with him, why? Let us forget about these rules for the time being. Let us understand the principles. Why does that process even work? Because he is the ultimate father. When there is a child that has committed lots of sins and the parents have given time out for 5 minutes, you have to do, today I won't even feed you anything, until tomorrow there is no food for you and all that. How long will that last? If the father or the mother becomes merciful towards the child, immediately they'll feed them. All it takes is a little bit of love on that reduction of that rebellious behavior of the child, and little bit of love and forgiveness that they are seeking from the parents. That's all it takes, right? Any amount of timeouts they give, any amount of impositions they give, say that you have to say, you have to write an essay saying, I'm sorry, 100 times you have to write this, they might say, you know, they might get pleased with writing only 10 times. You don't even have to do 100 times. You might think that if I do 100 times, then I will get sufficient punyam so that he will actually get pleased. That is wrong. For him to be pleased, you don't even have to do it. Maybe, right? You are understanding, right? What I'm saying? All we are trying to do here is we don't have to do so many things to get rid of, our papams and gain punyam, because he is that punyam personified. If we just desire him fully, if we want to spend with him, then this material samsara, entire samsara, will just become like water contained in the footprint of a calf, says Bhagavata Purana. It is like an ocean otherwise. To even think of swimming in the ocean is an impossible feat. We can't swim in the ocean. Is it possible? There was a shipwreck. So many shipwrecks happened. Did anybody ever safely reach the shore? If a shipwreck happens, that's it. They have to sink. To swim in an ocean is not possible. Similarly, to think that if I have once fallen in samsara, by my own effort I can come out of this is foolishness. We can't. We need help. So we try to seek help. What is the greatest help that we can get? That is help by the Supreme Lord himself, right? If he is there, then nothing else is required for us to get delivered. He himself will deliver us. So he is punyanal. This kind of faith we should have, and that's what they are saying, that we are singing the names of such a person. So definitely he will give us what we need, right? That means we are trying to associate with punyam personified. So where is another papam, question of papam, that is hindering us from getting anything? This is what they are saying. பண்டொருநாள் கூத்தற்றன் வாய் வீழ்ந்த கும்பகர்ணனும் தோத்து முனக்கே பெருந்துயில் தான் தந்தானோ. Now they are talking about this particular girl defeating Kumbhakarna. What is the inner meaning of this? Right? That means the power of a Bhagavata who is absorbed in Paramatma, that kind of absorption far exceeds the absorption of material sleep, which is coming out of Tamoguna. Sleep is normally a function of Tamoguna, right? Kumbhakarna sleep, even if it was for 6 months, that is still a function of Tamoguna. That's all. But the Bhagavat Anubhavam of a Bhagavata in which he goes to Samadhi and he keeps experiencing Paramatma, that is not comparable to this kind of material sleep. That far exceeds this kind of material sleep, right? It is also a state of sleep in the sense that they also don't, hear external sounds. They also don't see external things. They are absorbed in Paramatma, very deep meditation on Paramatma. The mind is completely fixed on the goal, Paramatma. They are enjoying Paramatma's happiness by experiencing different kinds of pastimes of Paramatma, interactions with Paramatma, and all of that in their mind, right? So nothing external even matters to them. So that is a kind of absorption which far exceeds. This is one reason. The other thing is Kumbhakarna is a name of Agastya. Okay. Why? Because Kumbha, or a pot, was the cause of his birth. He actually took birth from a pot. So he whose Utpatti Sthanam is a Kumbha is Kumbhakarna. So that is Agastya. Okay. Agastya, he is famous for 3 things. The sage Agastya. We all know these 3 things. What is the one thing? One time, Vindhya Parvata, it was so tall with pride that it was obstructing sunlight from falling into certain regions on the earth. So people were not getting that sunlight. So he subdued the pride of Vindhya. What did he say? There was the Kalyanam of, Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi that was happening. Agastya took that pretext and he said, I want to go there. And he asked Vindhya to bow down. And he said, you remain like this until I come back. And he never came back along that path. So in obedience to the order of Agastya, Vindhya remained subdued even till today, right? So that means he was someone who was able to subdue the pride of Vindhya. This was one thing Agastya is famous for. The second thing he is famous for is he drank the entire ocean, right? in search of different demons. He was someone, the demons went and hid in the ocean. He drank the entire ocean. Just by doing like this, in one aposhanam, he just drank the entire ocean. Another unimaginable feat of Agastya. And third thing is he did Jirnam of Vatapi, right? And Vatapi was Mrityu personified because this Vatapi and Ilvala, they were basically two brothers who were Rakshasas. Their entire process was, one would appear like a Brahmana and one would cook the other person as a meal, right? And he would say, oh, they would invite so many sages and everybody who were in the forest and say, today we have a vratam, please come to our place, please have this meal. When someone is requested like that, they cannot deny it. So they will come and have that meal. And then immediately he will call out Vatapi, and Vatapi, he had that power that he could be cooked and he could come out. He would tear open the flesh of he would tear open the stomachs of all these sages and they would die. And these people would feed on all those sages. This was their daily program. Agastya came to know of this. Someone said that this is what they are doing. Agastya said, okay, I'll take care of this. And he came to that feast one day. Just like usual, he decided to call and Agastya immediately said, Jirnam, Jirnam, Vatapi, Jirnam. Immediately the Vatapi got killed inside. So Agastya had such a power that he could even kill this Mrityu personified. Okay. So now let us try to understand how Bhagavata is actually comparable to Kumbhakarna. That means comparable to Agastya. A Bhagavata also has this power. What is this Vindhya? Vindhya represents a certain kind of ahankaram that won't let Bhagavad Jnana into us. Just like Vindhya Parvata stood so tall that it wasn't letting sunlight to flow into certain regions. This ahankaram, that means, ahankaram means the conception that I am the body and not the soul. Thinking that we are the body is ahankara. As long as we think that we are the body, any knowledge related to Paramatma, it won't flow into our heart. Okay. Only when we think that we are the soul, that knowledge will enter. So as long as we think, that means that is the ahankara that is standing tall, that will prevent this Bhagavad Tattva Jnana from entering into our hearts. The Gopika or the Acharya is the Tattva that subdues this ahankara so that the Bhagavad Tattva Jnana can enter our hearts. So it is similar to subduing this Vindhya, right? In that sense, there is a similarity. Second similarity is he drank the entire ocean. Ocean represents the Veda. Okay, an Acharya is that Tattva who drinks the entire Vedam. And entire Shastram is something that he knows. And he, just like Agastya, he was able to again, send that ocean out. Similarly, Acharya also is capable of sending it out only to the extent that is needed based on the qualifications of the disciples. He will actually spit that Vedam out in whatever way, right? That is best beneficial for them. So in this way also there is a similarity. Similarly, Vatapi or Mrityu, right? Vatapi was Mrityu personified. So such a Mrityu personified could be digested by Agastya. That means Acharya is someone who has digested Mrityu. That means for them there is no more samsara, right? They have only Amritatva. That means they are someone who are ready for liberation, right? They don't fall into the cycle of birth and death again and again. And if you take shelter of them, they are capable of doing that to you as well, right? In this way, there is a samyam between Acharyas and Kumbhakarna, right? That means Agastya. So in this way, they are trying to say that you have defeated in the sense that, externally that Kumbhakarna, that means, Agastya, he may have just done those things, but you are capable of, you have defeated them in the sense that you are capable of giving a benefit that is far more spiritual in nature than what Agastya has accomplished materially, right? All he could do was subdue the Vindhya mountain, he could drink the ocean, and he could, kill Vatapi, who is Mrityu personified. But in your case, you are doing, as an Acharya Tattva, you are capable of, subduing Ahankara and letting Bhagavad Tattva Jnana enter into our hearts. You are capable of absorbing the entire ocean of Vedam and teaching us, and you are also capable of granting us moksha, in the sense that you are someone who has himself, digested this, mrityu completely. That means there is no more mrityu for such a person like you. This is what they are saying. Atra Anandal Odayai Arungalame. Now they are saying, you please come out of this sleep, right? In this way they are saying. So that means they are saying, you are overcome with sleep, so please unsettle yourself from this. Okay, in the sense that there is a certain lag that they experience. They cannot immediately, just like when we wake up, as soon as we wake up, if someone asks us to do something we can't do, we'll take 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time so that we settle ourselves, because we are coming from one state of sleep to a state of activity. So there is a transition time. Similarly, when someone is in deep samadhi, if you ask them to suddenly come from samadhi and start behaving like a normal person, they can't do. There is a certain lag. So they are saying this lack of ability is not a defect. Okay. Immediately, if you ask someone who is in samadhi to come out and start doing acts, their lack of ability to do so is not a defect. It is an ornament to them, right? Because that is the extent to which they were experiencing samadhi. On the other hand, if we are in very deep sleep and, we miss the morning Tiruvaradhana, that's not an ornament for us. That is a defect for us, right? So this is the difference between these two, right? For a person who is in samadhi, if they take time to come out of it to do normal day-to-day activities, that is an ornament for them. But for us, if we do come that, because we are not someone who is experiencing samadhi, we are coming out of normal sleep. So that is a defect for all of us. So they are saying, therefore, you are someone who has overcome that material sleep and who is experiencing that spiritual sleep or samadhi. So you please come out of that state, unsettle yourself. Tetramaya vandu, you please unsettle yourself from that state and open, come, Tirava. That means you please come and open this door. You please, Arangalame, you are the jewel among this. What is the capability of a jewel? A jewel is capable of lighting up the path. Right? Jewel naturally has the shine. Right? That is the quality of a jewel. So among all of us, you are the jewel means among all of us, you are someone who can lead all of us. So become our leader, become that avant-garde, and you please guide us on this spiritual path. In this way, they are trying to pray to this particular Gopika. So Nottu chuvargam puhinna ammanai means what they are saying, oh lady, you are someone, it appears that you are taking shelter, you are someone who is a siddhopaya nishtha. That means you are someone who is seeing Krishna himself as the upayam. Therefore, it doesn't appear that you have anything external to, do, right? It appears that you are someone who has accomplished all nomos. Why? Because there is an interesting slokam. Sarve Vedaha, Sarva Vedyasa Shastraha, Sarve Yajnaha, Sarva Ijyasya Krishnaha. Viduh Krishnam Brahmanas Tattvatoye Tesham Rajan Sarva Yajna Samaptaha. Samaptaha. That means that particular Viduhu Krishnam Brahmana Tattvatoye, he who understands Krishna to be Sarve Vedaha, that Krishna himself is all Vedas. Sarva Vedyaha, he is himself all the things that are to be known. Sa Shastraha, he is all the Shastras. Sarve Yajnaha, he is himself all the Yajnas, right? Because he himself declares in Bhagavad Gita, Aham kratuhu, aham yajnaha, swadhaham, aham aushatam, mantroham, ahamevajyam, aham agner, aham hutam. In this way, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So those who understand Krishna to be all yajnas, sarva ijyasya, he is all ishtis. So for such a person, tesham rajan, sarva yajna samaptaha. There is no need to do all these things for such a person. Such a person is kritakrityaha. Who is a kritakrityaha? Someone who has finished all his homework and for him there is nothing more to do. Such a person is called kritakrityaha. Everything that they need to do, they have already accomplished. Who is that kritakrityaha? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, Yo mam evam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabharavena bharata. Etat buddhva buddhiman syat kritakritasya bharata, he says in the Bhagavad Gita. That means, who is a kritakritya? He who understands Krishna to be Purushottama. Such a person is kritakritya. Those who understand Krishna himself to be the goal of all the Vedas. Vasudeva Paravedaha, Vasudeva Paramakhaha. He is the goal of all yajnas. Vasudeva Parayogaha. Whatever yoga you perform, he is the ultimate goal of all yogas. Vasudeva Parakriyaha. Whatever activity you perform, he is the ultimate goal of all activities. Vasudeva Param Jnanam. He is the ultimate jnana to be obtained. Vasudeva Param Tapaha. Whatever austerities you perform, ultimately he is the person who is to be pleased by those austerities. Vasudeva Parodharmo, Vasudeva Paragati. In this way, different scriptures glorify, right? These kind of slokas appear at multiple places. This is not just one sloka from one Purana. In multiple places, these kinds of same slokas, similar slokas appear in multiple Puranas. In not just Puranas, in Itihasas, in Smriti Granthas, and so many places. So therefore, this is the ultimate goal. So you are someone who has seen Krishna as Siddhopayam. You have understood that. Therefore, you are not depending upon these material things as the means for obtaining Krishna. Matramam tararo vasal tirvadar. All we need you to do is open your mouth and guide us. If you don't want to open the doors of ahankara, just come and speak to us. Just come and guide us, because your speech itself is capable of opening these doors. Natatturai Muni Narayanan. Don't tell us that you are not someone who is not qualified and all that. We won't believe in all of that, because we can clearly see fragrance coming out of you. We can clearly see qualities of Sthita Prajnata manifest in you. Nammal Potta Paredarum Punyanal. We are interested in singing about the person, and this person, Krishna, about whom we are asking you to guide. He is Punyanal. That means he is himself capable of giving everything. We don't need another thing to give us punyam, right? So we don't have to, we are also convinced theoretically, but we want practical guidance from you, right? Pandorunal Kutratin Vai Vidanda Kumbhakarnanum Totumanake Perunduil Tandannanu. That means you are someone who has already defeated Kumbhakarna in this particular task. Why? Because you are experiencing Bhagavad Tattva to such an extent that you are so much in Samadhi, and you are someone who is capable of doing three things to us. What are the three things? You are someone who has studied all the Shastrams. You are someone who is capable of reducing the Ahankara in us and letting the Bhagavad Tattva Jnana enter our hearts. And you are someone who is capable of destroying samsara altogether. So you please come forward, become our leader, become that jewel for us, right? Unsettle yourself from the state of meditation, come forward and guide us. Elor Empower. This is our rhythm. In this way, Andal is beautifully trying to glorify about, Acharya Tattvam, right? Certain aspect. So with this, we will conclude for today. We'll see if anybody has any questions or things that they want to share. If not, we'll close. Andal Tiruvadagale Sharanam, Emperumanar Tiruvadagale Sharanam, Periyajiyar Tiruvadagale Sharanam, Jai Sri.
Jai Shri Narayana Swami.
Adi.
Wonderfully said, Swami. One question I have is, you told about these two types of upayam, no, Swami, Sadhya upayam and Siddhopayam. And Sadhya upayam is where, we perform all the karmas hoping to get the result. Whereas when you explained Siddhopayam, it seemed to me like it is where you kind of believe or you realize that Krishna is the only upayam out there. Is that correct, Swami? Or can you elaborate Siddhopayam some more?
So it is Siddho. So upayam is something that we should possess, right? We as in anybody who is aspiring for any goal, to obtain any goal, they should have a certain means to obtain that goal. So means is something that the person should possess, right? Certain means, all the sadhyopayams are means that they have to earn. But siddhopayam is something that is already with them. Because Narayana or Krishna, as the Antaryami, he exists within us. So siddhopayam is ready-made with us. All we need to do is realize that he is the means. We don't have to gather an external means to get moksha. All we need to do is realize that he is the means. But we do all these things because he has just ordered us to do. We do all these things because as we keep developing more and more bhakti towards him, then because we cannot remain without doing those things, we do them out of love, out of a natural love for, the Lord. We just follow his orders. If we love someone in this world, we do things that are pleasing to them. Why do we do that? Because we just have certain love for them. We like to do things for them because we love them. Similarly, because of that love towards Paramatma, all these activities we do. We don't see them as the means because he is the means. That understanding that he is the means is so strong in us that we don't see these things as the means.
Oh, sure, Swami. Thank you, Swami. That's all.
Vishnu Narayana Swami. So is Sharanagati is Siddhopayam?
Is Sharanagati Siddhopayam, is that what you are saying?
Yes, Swami.
Even Sharanagati, we should not see as an upayam, because Sharanagati is described, Prapatti is described to be just an adhikari visesham. Prapatti is also not a means for moksha. Because we should not think that, in other words, we should not think that because I have performed Prapatti, because I have performed Sharanagati, I will get moksha. That means we are depending upon that as a means for moksha. Our conviction should be that he is the one who gives us moksha. He is moksham himself, right? He is the one who carries us. These things, why we are doing means because Shastras have recommended that these things have to be done, we are doing. It is like when we apply, so this is an example that I give. right? If we think about a grad school application, right? We try to write a statement of purpose. We try to get some recommendation letters from some professors. We put together a resume of projects that we have done and all that. And all of them together with a grad school application, we send in an application packet and we submit, right? Now, each of these may be seen as means for getting an admission into the university. But ultimately, none of these are means. The means is because even people who have everything may not get that admission. Even people who may have just one of them may get admission. Ultimately, what is the thing that is getting the admission? It is the mindset of the person, the graduate admissions committee that is getting them admission. That means it is their grace that is getting them admission. Sometimes, a person may be so strong in one thing that, they have a very strong recommendation letter from one professor. So even if their achievements are not great, even if they don't have a lot of accomplishments, even if they don't have, a very strong statement of purpose, they might get an admit because, someone who is an expert in that field just recommended them and they got it. That's it. On the other hand, someone may have a very strong resume and all these things. That means these things are necessary, but not sufficient. The sufficiency condition is being fulfilled by Paramatma, right? These are not sufficient in themselves. Nothing is sufficient to get moksha because he alone is capable of giving moksha. At least this is how I have understood. I hope that is clear. So all of these are just adhikari vishesham. That's all. None of these are by themselves sadhana. Anything else from anybody else?
అడియన్ ఇప్పుడు ఈ గోపిక ఉన్నారు కదా, ఈవిడ కృష్ణుణ్ణి అనుభవిస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, అంటే ఈవిడ సాధ్యక సిద్ధోపాయ నిష్ఠలో ఉన్నారు ఈ గోపిక. సో నాకు అంటే ఒక ప్యారలల్ డ్రా చేయాలి అంటే ఇప్పుడు మహాభారతంలో ఒక ఘట్టంలో విదురులు కృష్ణ పరమాత్మకి ఇలా తోలు రీసెంట్ గానే మనం అనుకున్నాం కదా, ఆయన అలాంటి భక్తిలో ఉన్నారనుకోవచ్చా?
విదురులా అంటే ఎనీ సర్టెన్ ఇన్సిడెంట్ దట్ యు ఆర్ రిఫరింగ్?
వారు ఇప్పుడు
అరటిపండు
కరెక్ట్ అడిగాను. తోలు ఇచ్చేస్తారు కదా, పండు ఇవ్వకుండా తోలు ఇస్తారు కదా, అంటే ఆయన ఇమ్మర్స్ అయిపోయి ఉన్నారు కదా, కృష్ణుని చూసి అనుభవిస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, అలా మనం ప్యారలల్ అనుకోవచ్చా?
Yes, he was experiencing that state of bhakti where nothing else he was able to realize. So for that period of time, he was in total samadhi. He was completely absorbed in Krishna, that nothing else mattered to him. Kani, will that itself help us conclude that he was in Siddhopaya Nishtha? Ante no. Ante, this is talking about a state of experience. Whether that experience lasted in him or not, we have to observe the overall quality of life. At every point, how did he look at Krishna? Did he see Krishna as the means? Ante anta manaki clarity telidu. That doesn't mean that he is not there. Kani, we don't get that insight from the past times, at least based on the past times where Vidura, he definitely counsels Dhritarashtra on different occasions. Vidura Niti is a section that is there where he gives so many instructions. So we may have to look at all of those sections to see what kind of bhavana he had with respect to seeing something as a means for moksha. Did he actually feel that Krishna is the means for moksha? In which case we can conclude that he is a Siddhopaya Nishtha. Person in Siddhopaya Nishtha. But if we don't see that conclusion coming out of, generally it is true that people who have that level of devotion will naturally have that Siddhopaya Nishtha because they will not see. Vidura was a great jnani because, there was the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya is what gave rise to entire Bhagavatam. So definitely in some of those aspects, he might have described all these things because in a conversation between Vidura and Maitreya, so many sub-conversations come. Conversations between so many other Bhagavatas come. So if he is narrating the conversations between them, that means all those conversations can also be ascribed to him. That means we can conclude that Vidura is also having that nishtha. But that particular incident of when Krishna arrived, he was experiencing so much devotion towards Krishna that nothing else even came to his mind. He was completely absorbed in that Bhagavad Tattvam to such an extent that he didn't even realize what he was doing. That is what pleased Krishna, because that is what he is looking for, that kind of devotion. Not devotion that is interrupted and having so many clauses attached to that and all that. So Vidura experienced that for some time. But as soon as someone said to Vidura that see what you are offering, immediately he was checking what he was offering, how many he had, and all these things. Krishna said, I'm full. Okay. Because what he wanted was that bhakti, that pure bhakti is what Krishna enjoys.
Sure, అడియన్ దాసోహం
అడియన్ దాస్
అంతే అడియన్. అదే అంటే ఏమర్థమైందంటే ఆ పర్టికులర్ సిచ్యువేషన్, ఆ ఘట్టం, ఆ ఘడియలో విదురుల వారు ఎలా తనలో భావించుకున్నారో పరమాత్మని, ఈవిడ కూడా ఈ గోపిక స్త్రీ ఆ వేళ ఆ రోజు అలా ఉండి ఉండొచ్చు. ఐఎమ్ షూర్ ఈ గోపిక స్త్రీ నిజంగానే ఇంకా పెరుమాళ్ళు ఆమె దగ్గరకు ఉన్నారు, తులసిమాల యొక్క సుగంధం వస్తుంది అంటే మనం ఇంకా ఈ జస్ట్ అ బిట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ వీ కెన్ సే దట్ యా అలా ఫీల్ అయి ఉంటారు, ఆ భక్తిలో మునిగిపోయి ఉంటారు అని మనం అనుకోవచ్చు. ఓకే.
అండ్ ఇన్ జనరల్ ఇది ఒక్క గోపికనే డిస్క్రైబ్ చేయట్లేదు. దిస్ ఇస్ డిస్క్రైబింగ్, అంటే అలా మనకి కనిపిస్తున్నా కూడా దిస్ ఇస్ డిస్క్రైబింగ్ ద క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆచార్య తత్వ ఇన్ జనరల్. బికాస్ ఆచార్యాస్ ఇన్ జనరల్, ఆళ్వార్స్, ఆచార్యస్, ఎవరైతే హూఎవర్ we take shelter of these kind, because they will have siddhopaya nishtha, right? Natural for them to have siddhopaya nishtha. They will not see that these are the means, because that is not the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. That is not the conclusion of all the Vedanta Shastra. The Vedanta Shastra's conclusion is siddhopaya nishtha alone, right? So therefore that is what acharyas will have, that kind of nishtha. So this is another characteristic of acharya tattvam that is being talked about today, that is the level of devotion that they carry, that is how they respond. This మనకి ఇలా అనిపించవచ్చు, సరే ఒక గోపిక ఈ అవస్థలో ఉన్నారు, ఇంకో గోపిక అవస్థలో ఉన్నారు అంటే మనకు ఒక కన్ఫ్యూజన్ రావచ్చు. డస్ దట్ మీన్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు టేక్ షెల్టర్ ఆఫ్ వన్ ఇన్ వశీకార అవస్థ అండ్ వన్ ఇన్ ఏకేంద్రియ అవస్థ అండ్ అనదర్ పర్సన్ ఇన్ యతమాన అవస్థ? నో, దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ద మీనింగ్. అంటే the person has certain characteristics that are highlighted in each of these levels. So fourth level lo dukheshu anudvignamana sukheshu vigataspruha, these characteristics are also there. కానీ there is something else అక్కడ హైలైట్ చేసి అండర్స్కోర్ చేసే క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళ మైండ్లో అసలు డిజైర్సే జనరేట్ కావు. నథింగ్ గెట్స్ జనరేటెడ్ ఇన్ దేర్ మైండ్ ఇస్ ద పాయింట్ దట్ ఈస్ అండర్స్కోర్డ్ ఇన్ లెవెల్ 4. లెవెల్ 3కి వచ్చేటప్పటికి దే టాక్ అబౌట్ the fact that yes, sukhalu dukhalu వీళ్ళకి తెలుస్తాయి కానీ they don't react to them, they don't respond to them. లెవెల్ 4లో తెలియని కూడా తెలియనప్పుడు they will not naturally not respond to them. So that is included. కానీ ఆ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ కూడా మనకి చెప్పాలి. అంటే భాగవతోత్తములు ఎలా ఉంటారు అంటే వాళ్ళకి అటువంటి సుఖం వచ్చి మీద పడిపోయినా, అటువంటి దుఃఖం వచ్చి మీద పడిపోయినా వాళ్ళకి రియాక్షన్ ఉండదు. దట్ ఈస్ వన్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ అని వాళ్ళు చెప్తున్నారు. వీతరాగ భయక్రోధ, వాళ్ళకి మెటీరియల్ పదార్థాల పట్ల రాగం ఉండదు, క్రోధం ఉండదు, భయం ఉండదు, అవి పోతాయేమో అని భయం ఉండదు. అలా వాళ్ళు ఉంటారు అనేటటువంటి ఒక ఆస్పెక్ట్ ని హైలైట్ చేస్తున్నారు ఇవాళ. సో అటువంటి వాళ్ళని మనం ఆశ్రయించాలి అనేటటువంటి మెసేజ్ ఇస్ వాట్ దే ఆర్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు కన్వే, is how Adiyan has understood.
Wonderful, Adiyan. Yeah, done using. That's so Adiyan.
Adiyan, that's.
Which alvar is this Pasuram referring to? Is that Nammalvar or?
I think it is Nammalvar. But again, Nammalvar is generally given as an example for stage 4. It is previous thing. So again, according to one commentary, it is Nammalvar. According to another commentary, I think there is a different alvar that is being talked about. So then we have to understand which characteristics were things that they have observed. Again, these are all Swapadesha commentaries. That means they are sort of individual opinions about what they feel best represents these characteristics, which alvar has them, which Acharya Tattva has them.
Swami, one basic doubt, Swami.
Again.
So far, when we are talking about Bhagavatas, we are talking about like them, of course, being great in certain attributes, and we are underlining something. And today, like the Bhagavata, like you said, is an ekendriya avastha. But towards the end, you are also talking about how acharyas, help and like Bhagavad Tattvam in our heart, like give us knowledge from Vedas. Because this Bhagavata is in ekendriya avastha, like level 3 stage. Is that why you referred this Bhagavata as acharya, or did I miss something basic, Swami?
No. So the understanding is, it doesn't matter which level someone is in. Level 4 Sthita Prajna can also serve as Acharya, because Nammalvar, Shuka Maharshi, Prahlada, all these are given as examples of level 4 Sthita Prajnata. So even Nammalvar has instructed so many things in Tiruvayamoli. So therefore Nammalvar is an Acharya. Similarly, Shuka Maharshi has instructed so many things in Bhagavata Purana, almost 18,000 slokas. So he is also an Acharya. Similarly, Prahlada also in his speech, by his behavior, and to the demoniac friends that he had instructed so many things. So he also served as an Acharya. So all we are trying to understand is the reason they are acharyas is certain aspects of their behavior are instructive to us, right? So just by their behaviors, there are certain things where we feel, okay, this person has an expertise in this. So let's say there's computer science. One person is an expert in data science. One person is an expert in computer networks. So for that, if you want to get mentored in that particular subject, you go to that expert. Similarly, here also we may see that, yes, these are the certain characteristics where we want to make advancement in our own devotion. So Andal represents a set of gopis who are approaching an Acharya Tattva so that they can get mentored. Okay, you are someone who manifests these qualities. How could, we want to, and you are someone lying in a deep state of meditation. Because of the virtue of being in that particular state, you are in meditation. Great. But if you just remain in meditation, that is not going to help us. So please come out of that meditation and please guide us. How do you get to this phase? What are the stages that you experience in this process? In this way, we have so many questions that we want to get mentored from you. So you please come out of the state of meditation and guide us on the path to reaching Krishna, is how they are petitioning in front of, each Gopika. Did I make myself clear, Ramyaji?
Awesome, Swami. It is clear. Dasam Adiyan.
Dasam. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Adiyan. We will hang up for today. Everybody is. Thank you. Jai Sriman Narayana.
Jai Sriman Narayana.
Jai Sriman Narayana.
Jai Sriman Narayana.